Well, hello. That was a kind of abrupt intro there. Thank you so much for joining us today. I am Rashi, as you probably see on your Facebook or YouTube or wherever. Thank you so much for joining us today. So, today we're talking about, first of all, it is hot outside. The feels like temperatures above 100 degrees, according to our meteorologist here. You can totally feel it. I was outside shooting a stand up for the story I'm doing, what we're talking about today. And it was hard because there's sweat and I'm trying to air it out here a little bit. um, but yeah, it's tough. That and the gas price, it's like, what is going on? But anyway, there's a really important topic that we need to talk about, which is parents who are forgetting their children in the back of the car. Now, many parents that see these news stories, because unfortunately we talk about them every single year. The most recent one happened last month, actually. I think it was a 10-month-old who was left in the back seat. And you're doing so many things. I'm not trying to make excuses or anything, but I spoke with someone who we'll hear from who works at Texas Children's Hospital, specifically. I'll pull it up right here. The manager of the Center for Childhood Injury Prevention at Texas Children's Hospital, Kristen Beckworth. And she talks to some of these parents who have had their children go to the hospital and unfortunately have died because of whatever heat stroke or whatever they're dealing with. And so she says that they think to themselves, I never thought it would be me, and I didn't even realize. And so it's not a bad parenting situation. It's just you have so much going on. And so obviously nobody wants their child to be in that position. So we'll also be talking about reminders and what you can do there. Now, and then what you can do with your kiddos when it is so hot outside. Like, I'll be honest, this weekend with my kids, I'm like, what are we going to do? Not go to the pool because it's so hot. So you have to stay hydrated if you're going to do those kinds of things. And I'm going to go ahead and first off, start off by explaining one of my stories I had this week, the difference between a heat stroke and heat exhaustion. Well, let me tell you, I went running outside. I think it was like on Monday or something at 11 a.m. Definitely think I had heat exhaustion. Here's why. I'm going to show you this graphic. So heat exhaustion, you see on the left side of your screen: faint or dizzy, excessive sweating, cool, pale, clammy skin, nausea or vomiting, rapid, weak pulse, muscle cramps. So I had muscle cramps. I was excessively sweating. I was also feeling cold. So I, finished my run, which wasn't that long of a distance, but definitely was feeling it afterwards. I drank a lot of water with electrolytes. That really helps a lot. I use this thing. Let me just show y'all, because see my purse. It's called Liquid IV. Not an ad, but it really does help. I think I have one in my purse. Here we go. Telling you, this is a game changer right here. Liquid IV. I add it to my water and it helps so much. So whether or not you're working out or doing whatever, putting this in a bottle of water is definitely the way to go. So I was dealing with that. Now, what heat exhaustion can lead to, which it oftentimes has, in fact, 600 people in the U.S. die from heat stroke every year. Can you believe that? So heat stroke on the right side of your screen: throbbing, headache, confusion. There's no sweating. Your body temperature is above 103, nausea, vomiting, rapid, strong pulse. So that's when you call 911 for sure. The left side, we're seeing heat exhaustion. That happens a lot. You probably don't even realize that you're encountering it. Just drinking a lot of water and taking a cool shower, use cold compress, get to cooler air. Even the shade can get extremely hot as well. So those are just a couple things to keep in mind. Also, the playground, that can get very hot too, even though I realize that some of the swings and the slides have like the whatever it's made out of where it doesn't get as hot. Still, I just do a little test myself, and oftentimes it's just way too much to even have your kids play there. So that's another thing. Indoors is best and the safest. And while we're talking about that, I will show you, I was just doing some research on some of the things that you can do, because I'm always looking for ideas. I also didn't load this, which I wanted to do this morning, what I did with my daughter, which was take my husband's shaving cream, put it in a bowl and put food coloring, and she went to town. and she was busy for like 10 minutes, which is a long time in parent world. You know that. So that's an idea. I have a couple of actually a list of others that I found online that I thought were really good and might be beneficial to you. Play-Doh, playing in the bathtub with swimsuits, kind of like swimming, but you're doing it indoors and, controlled temperature environment there. Having a tea party, that is always so fun. I just started doing that. Rock out to kids' instruments, that can actually take a lot of time and be a lot of fun too. And your child might be musically inclined and you just kind of figure it out now. The mall play areas, that's something that I just discovered, y'all. I don't know why I just discovered that, but I think it's because during the pandemic, I would always walk by it and think, I don't know if I'm going to do that or not. And whenever I did go to the mall, because a lot of people do online shopping now, and it's just so neat because I go in the beginning, like in the morning. Obviously, I'm working at night, but in the morning, like right after they've cleaned it, so you know that it's cleaner and it's safer. At least that's what I tell myself in my mind. Okay. Well, here you go. So setting up tents and pretending to camp, that's always fun. And the bookstores, they have story time. Also, the library. I went to the library 2 weeks ago and got a bunch of books, and my son and daughter had like all these books. And I was like, no, we can't take as many. We can't take that much. And then I asked the lady at the front, like, how many can we check out? She said 150. Like, okay, go to town, guys. And they loved it. So that's always good. I've been to like bookstores like Barnes and Nobles, and they have a calendar with reading times as well. And they're always fun because they like dress up in the character or whatever, and kids have a good time there. So that's a good idea. Also, puzzles are awesome. There's different, I was looking up puzzles in general, and there's different age groups. Paint rocks. That's so fun because it's just getting a rock and painting it. And I went to I think it was the Katy Train Park, and there's the front of the park, they have this like thing, like table, and it's a bunch of these painted rocks, and they're like positive rocks. And so you can take one, and then you like next time you come, you replace it with one that you made. So it's kind of like this thing that like kids have going on, and it's just spreading positivity, which, is just what I love to do. All right. So obstacle courses, you can make these as safe as possible, and that can be fun and get your kids tired. Setting up play dates. I know sometimes that can be hard to do because just you're tired as is, and just setting those up and going places or whatever. So that can be a hassle. So kind of on the end of my list just because of the scheduling situation, but it's always good to do. And then start body training. I need to do that with my 2-year-old. I haven't done that yet. So these are just a few things. I hope that helps. Now let's talk about something a little bit more serious, actually a lot more serious. The whole time frame that we're in right now, which is between May and I think they said September, when I was talking with Kristen Beckworth, the manager of the Center for Childhood Injury Prevention at Texas Children's Hospital. She was saying how now it's called trauma time, trauma season. That basically means they have an increase, trauma centers do across the nation, for kids for drownings because being in pools so much, and for hot car deaths, meaning like their child is left in a hot car and dies from heat stroke or heat exhaustion, like extreme cases and all of that. A child's body temperature, or actually a child's body, heats up 3 to 5 times faster than an adult. And it takes 10 minutes for the car in the heat to go 20 degrees above what it is outside. So say outside it's 80 degrees, which it's way hotter than 80 degrees right now in Houston. Add 20 degrees, 100 degrees. So it's 100 degrees inside. For us adults, that's miserable. For a child whose body gets heated up faster, 3 to 5 times more than an adult, you can just imagine how it feels. And unfortunately, it leads to death. And like I was saying, it was just a couple of weeks ago where we reported a baby, a 10-month-old, who died because they were left in the car. And that leads you to the point, why in the world would a parent be that irresponsible to leave their child in the car? Okay, so that's a question I asked who I was talking about, Kristen, with childhood injury prevention at the center there. So here's what she had to say.
The one thing I want to point out for anyone watching the story and they think, how could that happen? How could a parent leave their child in the car? Over 60% of these deaths are kids that were forgotten. So change in pattern. One parent was supposed to drop off the child and they forgot. Change in routine. Kids that are rear facing and sleeping and you forget they're back there.
Right there, you heard from her. So those are just a couple of reasons why, or a few of them. And just some quick things I want to talk about also. On average, a child dies from heat stroke in a parked vehicle every 10 days. Now, this is nationwide. So this is a big problem. And the cars heat up, like I said, 19 to 20 degrees Fahrenheit in just 10 minutes. So you might go out and run an errand. Even if you park your car in the shade, it gets extremely hot inside. And unfortunately, like I said, we talk about this almost every summer, and it's just so incredibly sad. Some things to do that are most popular to remind yourself. Sometimes you can get those. There's programs where you can get the thing to put on your rearview mirror to remind you to check in the back. It sounds like, oh, I don't need a reminder, but I mean, if you need it, you need it. And a couple of other things, taking your purse or your wallet and putting it in the back because you know you have to get that. The other thing is taking one shoe and putting it in the back because you know you're going to need that for sure. I would say the shoe way more than the purse or the wallet because you're definitely going to go back to get the shoe there. So these are just a few things. I want to bring up this right here because the left side, the heat exhaustion, it is so common, especially for all the folks that go out running. I can speak for myself. You know, you have to hydrate before and after. And there are ambulances and emergency centers that are equipped with and are expecting to help people that are going to deal with heat exhaustion and unfortunately heat stroke in Houston because, well, actually Texas, because of the major increase that we see during the summer months because, you know, it gets so hot. So these are just some tips and I hope that it helps. I hope that everyone is staying safe and the heat is just such a big issue because everyone's experiencing it. So hopefully you're having fun indoors with your kiddos and hydrating them as much as you can. I don't think this liquid IV thing is for kids. You might want to ask your pediatrician, but for adults, for sure, just anything with electrolytes is really going to help you out for sure. So I hope you enjoyed this edition and I will see you next time on